Hello Flosstube, this is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher. Today is December 16th, 2020. Today is my son and his wife's 14th wedding anniversary. They were married in 2006. They have recently purchased a new house. They have 2 children, so they're doing pretty good right now. At least I hope they are. My son works for the state of Texas. He does a lot of work similar to his daddy. They're both in emergency kind of stuff. So they do similar things. But anyway, as I said, my name is Becky. I think this is my 15th Flosstube. I'm not sure. 13 had 2, so it kind of throws me off a little bit. But this is technically the 15th Flosstube. If you're a first-time watcher, welcome. If you're a returning watcher, oh my gosh, thank you so very much. You actually came back to listen to me ramble some more. Even better. This will probably be my last Flosstube for this year. Unless I get froggy and do one just before New Year's. I don't think I'm going to be exceptionally busy, but starting next Monday, my husband is off. And I just can't do this when he's here because I don't want him to laugh at me or as he puts it, he will critique. And I don't want to listen to him critique. In fact, I don't even let him know how to find me on Flosstube, so he can't go watch these to critique me. So I know my oldest daughter watches. My youngest daughter recently said, I didn't know you were doing that. And I was like, well, you don't cross stitch, so I didn't think you'd be interested. So anyway, I have a finished object. I have 2 more to stitch, and this one only technically, if I had sat down and stitched it, it would have taken me no time at all, but instead I was doing it piecemeal here and there when I could, so it took me longer. It took me 3 days, but it was like an hour each day, so I just needed to sit down and stitch. This is from the 2016 Just Cross Stitch Ornament magazine. It's by Kelyn's Designs. I don't know if I had a name. Amazing Star. That's what it was called, and it was by Kelyn. Here was the finished piece. They did all green, and I decided I want a star on it. This is using Crescent Colors hand-dyed floss, and it is Grasshopper. It's kind of fuzzying out there. Let me see. I don't know if y'all can see it. It says Grasshopper. This was almost a full 5 yards. I don't know what I had used it for, but it obviously did not have a lot missing because it was almost a full 5 yards. That green took every bit that I had, and I was 9 stitches short. So the very top of the tree is DMC 895 because that matched, and you really can't tell the difference, but it's just 9 stitches. And then the yellow star is a Wildflowers. It is saffron Wildflowers, and it's fat. It's the cotton floss, so it's kind of like a pearl cotton, but I really enjoyed it. It's got some pretty soft, subtle variations. I did have to be careful. I tried to use this once before and had to pick it out because the white sections of it really don't show up good against a light colored fabric. So I had to make sure I used the darker part of the yellow for the star. And I have 2 more of these to make, and then I will be finished with my Christmas ornaments for 2020 stitched. Finishing is a different story. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I'm going to let you know that I went and drug out my old 35mm tripod and attached the camera attachment to the top of it. That way, I was filming it on top of my dining room table, but I kept bumping the table and it would go, and I know the movement was probably killing people. I have it set up so my feet are going between the legs of the tripod, so I hopefully shouldn't be able to kick it. And this way also my cat can't walk across it, so I don't have to lock him up, because he doesn't like that. So hopefully this will be a lot less shaky video. So I know when I watch it back, I'm like, I couldn't fix it. I didn't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden I had this moment. It was like, you have a tripod. You have a real tripod. Not the little rinky-dink one that they sold me when I got the camera attachment. So I was pleased when I went and found it, and it worked, and now it's all set up, and I'm like, yay! So anyway, what I stitched on. So the ornament's the only thing I finished. I did have a birthday start. Last Friday was my birthday. Yay! I have crossed over into my mid-50s. People laugh at me when I tell them I am in my early 50s until I am 54 and a half. At 54 and a half, I start, that's the mid 50s. I turned 56 on Friday. So at 56, I said, okay, I have officially crossed over into the other side because I'm beyond 55. So now I have to definitely be in my mid 50s. And I will be in my mid 50s until I am 59.5, which then I will be late 50s. So for my birthday start, I have been wanting to do this. This is the Newcastle Bouquet from Teresa Kogut. I believe this came out at back in March during the needlework market. My brain shut down. I did have a start. The brain's not working today. I always start in the bottom left-hand corner. So somewhere in here. There you go. I started right there, and that's that little start there. And let's see, I am using 37 count squash blossom. I know they said recommended 40 count, but I got a 37 count. And I am using, at this moment, I'm using the called for colors. I do have the DMCs just in case. So here are the called for colors. Well, they do have some DMCs that are actually called for in this. So I do have those. But these are the called for colors. And I was able to get the Classic Color Works colors. I know a lot of places were sold out of them. I was able to get them. The only one I am concerned about is the Weeks Dye Works bark, because it says you need 2, and I was only able to get 1. But I'm not worried about it just yet. I do have a place I can go and look, because as I said in my last video, Stitches from the Heart in San Antonio closed down. Their last day was last Friday. On my birthday, they closed down. And so they are no more. So now I'll have to go to Comfort, Texas, to the tinsmith's wife. My daughter goes to 3 Stitches in Spring because she lives north of them. And I know there is a place in Copper Cove, Texas, which is near Kelyn, near the military base up there, the Fort Hood that everybody's been in the news all over the place. And they're called Needleworks. And it's NEEDLEWURKS. I thought it was ERKS, but I think it's URKS. So that's Needleworks up in Copper's Cove. And while I was messing around this week with nothing to do, I didn't have any, extra floss tags. So I went to Hobby Lobby and bought some punches and paper and made my own. So I'm very pleased with the way they came out. And I was showing my husband, and I said, if we get some Christmas paper, we'll never have to buy those Christmas tags ever again. And he was so excited because he says, I hate those things because he can never get everything he wants to write on them. To which my thought, it's just supposed to have the person's name. But I have to admit, our granddaughter Elizabeth, once you put to Elizabeth on it and then try to write grandma and grandpa on it, it takes a lot of space and you're having trouble. So we have to make sure we get big tags for her. And my youngest daughter, her name is Bronwyn, and Bronwyn's name doesn't like to fit on those tags either. So yes, I understand where he's coming from on those. And then I stitched some more on my pandemic. So let me show you what I've done on that. Maybe. If I get it back far enough. I have gone from one corner to the other corner across the bottom. And now I've started going up the side. And what I'll do is, I want to see how big it's going to be. So I've got across the bottom done. And then what I'll do is I'll do probably about an inch going all the way up to the top. That way I can get a good idea of how much it is and continue on from there, because I did death by cross stitch, and when I just did death by cross stitch, I discovered that I liked doing each motif versus doing a page. So I would stitch a motif and it may cross a couple of pages and then go back in and fill in around it. And to me, I work faster that way versus just going back and forth with a page. This is also a 37 count squash blossom, which when I bought the fabric for this and bought the fabric from Newcastle Bouquet, it was quite distant. And I had forgotten that I had already purchased squash blossom. And when I was looking for the fabric for pandemic, I was like, oh, I love this fabric. I have to buy some. And then I was like, oh, no wonder I love it. I already had some, but they weren't the correct size. And then I'm using Sulky Threadworks. This is a blendable and it's called Redwork. It's a 12 weight. I'm really enjoying it. And these spools hold 300 meters or 330 yards. And they're wonderful to work with so far. I saw somebody kept talking about how they kept complaining about how it was twirling up on them. And I think it's because they're using the smaller spools. I bought the larger spools and I'm not having that trouble. And then the last thing that I worked on since I last spoke to you is the Christmas stocking from my youngest granddaughter. I am working on stockings for all 5 of them. I don't know when I'll finish them, but I am working on 5 Christmas stockings. And I originally said I was going to work on it until her birthday, which is January 25th. But her brother just had a birthday, and I haven't worked on his since May. And I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll start his up and put hers away for a while and work on his, because I worked on hers quite a bit, and more so than anybody else's. So what I may do is pick up his and work on his until not her birthday, which is in January, but until his cousin's birthday, which is in May. And then that way, and see, I got a good part of it done, even though I'm really enjoying this, because I'm doing it per candy, and each candy is going so fast. That ribbon candy still has a lot of back stitching to go, but that ribbon candy was making me a little nuts with all that white and that ice blue to make it look like it's rippled. So I need to finish the ribbon candy. I think when I finish the ribbon candy is when I'm going to put it up. And, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Here is her stocking. This is from the 2nd edition, Donna Cooler's 2nd edition stocking collection. And I just love the candies. And as I said, when you do it by candy, it goes really fast. And because it is backstitch, and I'm trying to do the backstitching as I go, it's like, okay, I had to do the bottoms of all these candies to come back in and start doing the backstitching here. But I mean, I would get carried away and, well, I have enough red. We'll just do all the red. So it's kind of jagged up in here. And I still need to come down over here. Excuse me, wrong side. Come over here and do this ribbon and this star. When I finish the ribbon and star, I'll have finished the bottom 2 pages, because the bottom 2 pages end here, and then these are 2 pages up here. But the page over here is only this wide. So, I mean, we're not talking heavy stitching here. So it's going very well. I'm enjoying it. I like stitching it by the candy. Now, the other ones are not like that. We'll see how those go. Um, last week, excuse me, was the last week for Stitches from the Heart in San Antonio. They are officially gone and closed. They're still posting some things on their Facebook page, but it's like Christmas freebies and little cutesy things. But they're not doing any orders or anything like that. The store is closed. Last week, I was working on my Santa's Magic. I just realized a weird light right here hitting me in the eye. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Maybe. That's somewhat better. Turned on my magnifying light. Last week I did go back in. Santa's Magic. It's a memorabilia from, I think it's in 1995, which I haven't worked on since the last time I showed it. Otherwise I would show it to you. I got to a part where it said I needed Whisper White. And I went, well, I have Whisper White. And I went to get it, and I do have it. But that's when I noticed there's a little asterisk next to the symbol. And I went, what? And I looked. It said you had to have multiple skeins of Whisper White. And I went, oh no, I think I only bought one card of it. And I went and looked. Sure enough, I have one card. Plus, I have used it for a few other odds and ends, so it's no longer even a full skein. And I'm like, ugh. So I looked at the pattern and went, oh yes, there's a lot of Whisper White on this. I'm going to have to get more, at least 2 more cards, I think. Definitely for 2 more cards. So last week, before the cross-stitch store closed, I stopped up there, even though I'd already gone and purchased everything that I had wanted, and that was going to be it. I walked in, and they said, hey, you're back. And I said, yes, I need to see if you still have some Whisper White, which, no, Whisper White did not exist in their little world. Not anymore. That's when I started looking around the store and realized that all the whites and all the blacks were gone. And then I think the reds were almost pretty much decimated also. There was very few reds. And I was like, wow, you can tell what everybody is stitching with. So I thought, well, maybe I should look around one more time to see. So I've been using the color Grits from, I think it's a Weeks Dye Works, and I ran out. So while I was there, I picked up some of the only whites I had left. And this is Toasted Marshmallow. Wow, that light really blows that out. This is Toasted Marshmallow. It is very white, so it really doesn't have any other color in it. So I mean, I don't, maybe when it's stitched up I'll see a variation. But it's this Classic Colorworks Toasted Marshmallow, and I'm going to use this in place of the areas that need grits. So I bought that. And then since the dark colors were disappearing, I grabbed Blackboard from, my brain just shut down, Gentle Arts. And then I grabbed Classic Colorworks Navy, because I thought, hey, who knows? You always need a blue and a black. So I got the blue and the black. So they look like, I got those 3 colors. And those were just to have on hand. I don't know what I'll use them for, but I will need them. I think it was the day before or right at that time I got the message from Linens and Threads out of Australia for the 2021 mystery sampler. And I had started 2020, which I haven't worked on since last January, but I have all the pattern pieces, I just haven't worked on it. So the new one, they said, is called Talaveras. Well, if you're from Texas and a lot of places like in California and stuff, most people know what Talaveras tile is. It's those tiles, and they're like a vibrant navy blue, or they'll have bright yellow flowers or red flowers, and they're very swirly and everything. And it's a beautiful pattern. The yellow is a very deep yellowy, or it's almost an orange yellow, but it's a beautiful yellow. I love Talaveras tile, and I went, oh, I have to have Talaveras tile. So when I was at the cross stitch store and I was perusing around and trying to decide on things, I came across some Threadworks. And as I said last time, I don't know why I haven't been buying Threadworks more often, because it comes 20 yards to the skein. And this was called Chili Pepper. And I love this. And these colors are very reminiscent of Talaverse tile. And the number is 1044, but the actual name was Chili Pepper. And I just thought those colors were spectacular. While I was there, their fabric was pretty much almost gone, because everybody was buying the fabric for sure. And I stopped and perused just because I really wasn't going to buy any fabric. Ha ha ha. On one of the top shelves in the linen section, they had this big wad of white, and I pulled it down and was like, what is this? Because white is, you know, one of those colors that goes so fast, and I was surprised it was a big piece. So I pull it down, and it's almost a full 2 yards of white linen, and I was like, wow, nobody's bought this? So I commented on it, and they said they had found it in the back, and they were unsure of why it had never been pulled out to the front, because everybody's always looking for white fabric, and it is a 32 count white linen. And I have no idea if it was whose linen it was, because it just said white linen 32 count. So I bought a half a yard of 32 count white linen, and this is going to be my Talaverse from Linens and Threads starting in January. And so I'll be set with that. Then while I was there, black is also hard to find, and I do like a good section of black, and so I bought some black Linda. It's also, well, this is a 27 count, and I do have some idea of what to do for that. Sorry about the crinkling. I had just picked up the fabric and the flosses when my mother calls me while I was there at the store. And since my birthday was going to be Friday, she tells me because she couldn't go out and buy me anything, she would pay for whatever I bought at the cross stitch store that day. And I went, oh, well, thank you. She says, keep it under $1,000. And I went, what? She says, yeah, whatever you buy today, I'll pay for. Just, you know, don't get too crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I said, well, okay. So they had offered me a basket when I walked in. And I said, no, I really didn't need a basket. I was just coming in for the whisper. Well, by now I have picked up several flosses, and I have picked up the fabric. So when my mother tells me I could go buy whatever I want at the store that day, I went, okay, now I need a basket. So I went and got a basket. So then I went over to the table that they had set up. In November was their anniversary, and they were going to have a big anniversary sale, but with COVID, they couldn't do it. And so they still had all their specialty things that they had purchased for their anniversary sale available. So I got a new needle threader because like 2 days before, my needle threader had died. And this is from My Big Toe, and it's just a pretty some little pretty red beads. So I got that. And then I have several patterns for boards, and I didn't have one, so I bought the paddle board, or the horn, or the book board. You know what I'm talking about, the alphabet boards. I can't think what you call them at the top of my head. So I got one of those, and let's see, I threw in some petite treasure braid. These are PBO2, which I have a lot of things that require gold. So I got those. And then I went back over to the specialty flosses and just bought some Krynics. And I know that there are some patterns that I probably require these colors. So I was just like, okay. So I got a sparkly brown, green, purple. I think I got 2 that green. And this is a silvery one that when the light hits it, it turns different colors somewhat. So anyway, I'm like, ooh, what else can I get? I have a pattern from years ago that is a birth sampler for a Texas-born child. And I have 3 Texas-born grandchildren. And it required a special bead. And it was a heart with a Texas flag on it. And so I bought they had 4. So I bought all 4. I was like, I'm not going to leave them with just 1 button. So I bought all 4 buttons so that now I can one day maybe go and do the birth samplers for the niños in the family who were born in Texas. Because my children, I only have 1 Texas-born child. That's my son. And then we have our daughters. 1 was born in Missouri and 1 was born in Massachusetts because my husband was in the Air Force back in those days. So I don't want to do Texas-born ones for the girls. And my son is 37, so he's 36. He'll be 37. So my son may not feel that a birth sampler at the age of 36 is appropriate. Anyway, I bought some rings for floss tabs for stuff. And then I went over to the patterns. Even though I told myself, you do not need any more patterns, I had to look at the patterns. So I got Rosewood Manor. I was going to say Redbird. I knew it wasn't right. Rosewood Manor, As You Sew. I've seen this done. It's beautiful. It's very long. So I don't know when I'm going to stitch this, but I do like this. So I got that one. And then I like Satsuma Street. And I don't have a fall pillow for my house. I have Halloween and then to Christmas. So I thought that would be very pretty to have in the fall. This was a kit. And this kit's been there for a while because I remember when these came out. I don't know what the date is. But it's a kit. Excuse me. It comes with everything in it. And it's a quadrille. And that's the EL. And that's the NO. So it says Noel. And then I picked up the Scarlet House Patriotic Shaker box set. And I don't know when I'll do that. I like this. I'm not sure I would do the houses, but I do like the little lid there. And then this, once I bought the pattern, I kitted it up. Got sticky things on my hand. I was trying to take the price tags off earlier. This is from Bindi Stitchy, Patriotic Pin Keep. And while I was there, I went and pulled colors, what they had to stitch on this. And this is where one of the reasons why I got the toasted marshmallow was because this needed a white. And I don't have fabric for this yet, but I at least got the colors. And yeah, this used grits and they didn't have any more grits. That's what it was. So that's why I got the toasted marshmallows. But I got cherry wine, toasted marshmallow, chives, blue heron, porpoise, and gold. So 3 dye works, 1 Digital Arts, and 2 Digital Arts, and Classic Colorworks. So I thought those colors would work well on the Patriotic Pin Keep. I just have to go find some fabric to work on that now. And then I bought some charms, put on some bags as zipper pulls. And I think that was it. So it was not $1,000 worth, but it was a lot higher than I usually spend there. And told my mom, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she says, "Oh yes." So I gave her the receipt and I got a check and I was like, woohoo, happy birthday to me. Then on my birthday, and I was so excited about this. I forget which Flosstube it was. I won one of the gifts from Lynn. I love watching Lynn. She makes me smile, makes me laugh. I hope her husband has his second negative COVID test today or tomorrow. So, because I know that sitting in the house together, they're not happy. But she has designed a cross-stitch pattern, and it's the 5 little trees, or 5 little candy canes. That's what it is. I think that's what she's calling it. Oh, way up high. That's what she calls it. She's created her own Etsy store. And she has created her pattern. And it is part of a box. And I even won the box. And this is, I think she said she got these from Joann's. So, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. It wants to fuzz. I can't get it to. Anyway, she said she got it from Joann's. It's the large wood keepsake box. And it's number item 64831. So I have that. And the pattern. I need to get some fabric and stuff to go with that so I can do it up. I'm not going to get it done for this Christmas. That's just not going to happen. I have red paint, so I can paint the box. And I think she took black and brushed it to give it kind of a antique-ish look. So we'll see how that goes. And then also on my birthday, and I thought this was very nice. I was not expecting this. One of the ladies that I stitch with on Sunday afternoons for pandemic, she sent me a page full of Sulky blendables because she knows I like the blendables. And now I don't have to go and look at every single one online. So that wouldn't, that'll come in handy, especially since she knows how much I like them. So I'm glad to get that. So thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Neicie. Thank you, Sylvia, once again for my project cards. These are project cards. And here is, this is the one for Jocelyn's Christmas stocking. And because I got these late in the year, I'm missing a lot of dates that I stitched on this. But these are coming in really handy to keep track of when I'm stitching. So when I look back, I can say, yes, I have stitched a lot on Jocelyn's. I need to move on to Tobias or somebody else. Tobias is her brother. So these are from S. Ward Designs on Etsy. She's got several different styles. Some have more places to write. Some have more notes for fabrics and stuff. I personally like this one just because I'm not, these hours, number of hours stitched. I don't want to know how many hours it took me. It would just depress me. Especially like